Hello and thanks for joining us. This is the Signature TV 30 Minutes. I am Mwabuzi Njoku. In the headlines, Chief Justice of Nigeria swears in 72 new senior advocates of Nigeria. Customs sees 73 locally made guns. United States removes Sudan from terrorism sponsor blacklist. And now, the details. Now, the coalition of northern groups has threatened to hit the streets in protest if the government fails to rescue the missing students following the terrorist attack on students of the government science secondary school, Kankara, Katsina State. Now, the Northwest coordinator of the coalition, Jamilu Sharanchi, in a press briefing held in the state capital, threatened to mobilize hundreds of thousands on the streets of Katsina in a series of protests if the students are not rescued as soon as possible. Now, the group also slammed President Muhammadu Buhari for not visiting the affected school despite being in the state on a private visit. They added that the insurgent attack on the school exposes not only the weaknesses of the government, but also lack of concern for education sector. They therefore called for the immediate action, including the closure of all boarding secondary schools and the immediate deployment of security personnel to all secondary schools within Katsina State. The Nigerian Customs Service has intercepted a truck conveying 73 locally manufactured guns and 891 cartridges in Kebbi State. The Customs Public Relations Officer, Joseph Atta, who disclosed this in a statement on Sunday, said the seizure was recorded by operatives of the Federal Operations Unit, Zone B. He explained that the operatives were on information patrol along the Yauri in the Zamare waterside area of Kebbi when they intercepted a truck loaded with locally produced rice with some sacks concealed under the rice. Now, according to him, 3 persons were immediately arrested and detained by the operatives while preliminary investigation is going on now. In his reaction, the controller of Federal Operations Unit Zone B, Hamisu al-Bashir, described the seizure as a signal to all those who may be planning to smuggle harmful items into the country through the zone. He called on the people, especially those living in border communities, to provide credible information for effective border security. The Ondo State House of Assembly has announced the reinstatement of 4 suspended members of the House. Speaker of the House, Bamidele Oleyelogun, announced this on Monday at the plenary at the legislative chambers of the Assembly complex in Akure, the state capital. Now, the reinstated lawmakers include a former Speaker of the House, Iroju Ogundeji, as well as Favor Temomewo, Adewinle Williams, and Aderindibo Leonard. Now, the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Ibrahim Mohammed, on Monday swore in 72 new senior advocates of Nigeria and also warned against disobeying court orders. Although the CJN Mohammed was absent at the ceremony, the next most senior justice of the Supreme Court, Justice Olabode Rosevever, represented him and administered oaths to the new senior advocates of Nigeria. The legal practitioners sworn in as senior advocates were awarded the rank as a mark of excellence and for having distinguished themselves as advocates and academics. The Legal Practitioners Privileges Council had earlier in November elevated 72 lawyers to the rank of the Senior Advocate of Nigeria. Enugu Electricity Company, EEDC, says it is committed to creating a positive impact in the host communities. The company stated this in Enugu as it began a 2-day Christmas medical outreach. SignatureTv correspondent Michael Ilediago now reports.
Over 200 people, including women and children, are expected to benefit from the medical outreach, which kicked off at Ekotu, Amechi town in Enugu. Leader of the medical team, Dr. Nnajeku Uchenna, said the Christmas medical outreach will provide free treatment, drugs, and counseling for members of the EEDC host community.
For the adults that have blood pressure, that's high blood pressure or diabetes or diabetes, we're giving them drugs. We have free drugs that were given to us by Health Pharmacy. And then for the children that have other ailments, we're giving them a prescription to buy the drugs outside. We're just offering them consultation.
For a number of the beneficiaries, the medical outreach is a life-saving opportunity for which they remain grateful to the electricity distribution company.
I said, may God bless them as they remember poor people.
Head of Communication EEDC, Emeka Eze, says the outreach is part of the company's corporate mission to put the customers first and impact positively on the lives of their host communities.
Okay, we also embark on some other initiatives, for instance, visiting of motherless baby home.
The Enugu Electricity Distribution Company EEDC has its coverage area in Enugu State, Anambra, Imo, Abia, and Ebonyi states. Michael Ilediago for SignatureTv.
The United States has formally removed Sudan from the state sponsors of terrorism blacklist. Its Khartoum embassy said on Monday, less than 2 months after the East African nation pledged to normalize ties with Israel. The move opens the way for aid, debt relief, and investment to a country going through a rocky political transition and struggling under a severe economic crisis exacerbated by the COVID-19 pandemic. U.S. President Donald Trump had announced in October that he was delisting Sudan 27 years after Washington first put the country on the blacklist for harboring Islamic militants. In response to the move, Sudan's Army Chief General Abdul Fattah, who doubles as the head of the Sovereign Council, the country's highest executive authority, offered his congratulations to the Sudanese people. And now for the business stories. The Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Nii Adebayo, says the federal government has so far disbursed a total sum of 12.4 billion naira to micro, small and medium-sized enterprises through the Bank of Industries as part of efforts to mitigate the impact of COVID-19 pandemic. Now, speaking at the opening of the 12th meeting of the National Council on Industry, Trade and Investment in Abuja, he said the risks of the pandemic were being mitigated by the government by exploring ways to increase and sustain production, creating supply chain, and preventing market disruption through efforts to alleviate the financial impact on small businesses. The minister pointed out that the federal government, through his ministry, remained committed to the pursuit of implementing the Nigeria Economic Sustainability Plan, the fund, to revitalize and strengthen small enterprises against the pandemic. Adebayo, however, challenged the state governments to also support the federal government in all its initiatives and to encourage them to come up with pragmatic measures towards revitalizing the industry, trade and investment sector. in their respective domains so as to move the country to the next level of post-COVID-19 era. The International Monetary Fund, IMF, says time-to-time measures taken by monetary authorities in the foreign exchange systems in Nigeria and other emerging economies are creating undue optimism in the local currency. The International Monetary Fund stated this in a joint report released recently by Tobias Adrian, the IMF Director of Monetary and Capital Markets, Celia Basebasglo, the Director of Strategy, Policy and Review, and Otta Gopinath, its Director of Research. Nigeria, Africa's biggest economy, runs multiple exchange rates in its currency market and spends around $16 billion every year to defend the naira. The Central Bank of Nigeria has devalued the local currency 3 times in 2020. The lion's share of the foreign exchange investment or interventions are auctions at the interbank spot, sale of greenback for invisibles, bureau de change, small and medium enterprises, forwards and investors, and exporters forex window. The IMF report observed that much as flexible rates of exchange could offer a buffer against capital flow volatility, they could not always provide an adequate defense against that threat. According to the multilateral institution, the effects of the interventions are often more harmful during times when access to capital markets around the world is disrupted or market debt is restricted. It went further to say that economies with volatile exchange rates, continuous market access, and deep markets are vulnerable to full exchange rate adjustment to shocks. The Nigerian stock market report now. Trading resumed on Monday on the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange with an impressive rise on the market capitalization after 5 days consecutive loss. The market capitalization rose to 18.22 trillion naira. It stood at 317.91 trillion naira on Friday. The all-share index also closed blue, rising from 34,252.74 to 34,843.44, a 1.73% increase. Now, the total of 208.1 million shares with total value of 3.71 billion naira were traded on Monday. On activity chart, Zenith Bank was the most traded equity, trading 34.03 shares worth 771.39 in 488 deals. At the close of trading, Airtel Africa PLC was the topmost gainer, while Prestige led the losers chart. Now for entertainment news. Nigerian music sensation Divine Irubo, popularly known as Rema, has been awarded the biggest Africa music exporter of the year. The Dume B. Krona received the award from Music Awards, Cameroon. Shortly after the MUMA 2020 organizers presented the Marvin Music Act with its new big win, the singer excitedly announced on his official social handle, where he wrote, "Cameroon, show him so much love. Ye are forever in my heart." Now sports, Paris Saint-Germain, last season's beaten finalists, will face Barcelona in the last 16 of the Champions League, while Liverpool are paired with RB Leipzig in Monday's draw. Bayern Munich, who beat PSG in the 2020 final, play Lazio in the knockout phase, while 2012 winners Chelsea have a tough task against Atletico Madrid. Pep Guardiola's Manchester City still seeking a first Champions League title, must get past Borussia Mönchengladbach. Cristiano Ronaldo and Juventus will play Portuguese side Porto, winners in the 2004, while Real Madrid take on last season's surprise quarterfinalists, Atalanta. Now please, do well to stay safe. Maintain physical distance and social distance, and wear your face masks while going about your daily activities. Right? That is Signature TV 30 Minutes. On behalf of my producer, Damilola Abudu, I am Mwabueze Njoko. Thanks for watching and good evening.